I think the thing that I like about it most is encouraging MOPs to lean into and prepare for the creation of this plan before it's asked of them at the 11th hour in a flurry of activity to produce it once marketing realizes that MOPS is holding the keys to the bulk of their performance and success data from the previous quarters and years.
Right.
So in that proactivity, I think that this is wonderful. Number 5 is my favorite, the establishing process for adjustments. Our market has shifted so dramatically over the last several years on even a monthly, if not quarterly basis. And so we can talk about anticipated ROI, but if you're using the same playbook that you were using for Q4 last year, assuming you're on a fiscal-based annual model, right, against the standard calendar, it's not going to work. It's a completely different time. And so having that plan for how do we recalibrate, how do we think about, modifying what we've set, not in stone, but sort of prepared for that process and know that that is part of the plan.
I couldn't agree more. I think where sometimes our colleagues have our challenges is that we are marketing operations, so we get enveloped in this world of execution and operations. It's not, there's no surprise there, but thinking strategically about how MOPS can ladder up, where you contribute to the OKRs, and how you're adjusting throughout the year is super important. And then the other area that I love is the idea of data to strategy. And as custodians of the data that is so important to leadership in terms of our marketing performance and execution data, this idea of laddering it up and thinking about it in a strategic way can only serve our MOPS colleagues better. That should be a real focus.
Yes, I think streamlining the flow of that information, talking about, okay, what are we going to be measuring against? What's the critical data for us to have? And then where are we sourcing it and how are we interpreting it? I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with a client and said, okay, what are your, if not OKRs and KPIs? And what's the data that you have to provide benchmarking for that? And we'll go in and look at the field or fields that they've indicated, and they're not being consistently maintained. They're 90% blank. There's not a strategy around how to even ensure that that data is there for future you to be able to interpret it. And so that, I think, is the other half of this is if we're planning now, it also tells us what actions we need to be doing currently to ensure that the data is there later when we go to do the analysis.